The French finance minister says the government is ready for budget concessions. Paris eager to calm financial markets as fears grow that the government's survival itself is hanging in the balance as it faces an uphill task in pushing through the budget for 2025. A vote of no confidence could be held, and the final decision lies in the hands of the far-right's Marine Le Pen. To talk more about this, we can bring in our international affairs editor, Philip Turle. Philip, great to see you. Could this happen?
Yes, it could. And it's a pretty strong possibility that it will happen because for two main reasons. The first one is that the left wing, the far left in particular, the France Unbound party of Jean-Luc Mélenchon, really wants to see Michel Barnier, he's the Prime Minister, fall from grace. They can't stand the current government. They want them gone. And they will do everything in their power to vote no confidence in the government, and that will make it fall. On the other hand, as you mentioned, Marine Le Pen of the far-right National Rally is toying with the idea, but is more or less convinced that she will also vote in favour of no confidence in the government because she doesn't agree with budgetary plans that Michel Barnier is putting forward, and in particular two aspects of that budget. The first one being no increase on the taxes which are levied on electricity in France, and that is a plan by the government to bring an extra €3.5 billion into the state coffers. And the second one is on the fact that all old age pensions must increase in line with inflation. Michel Barnier and Marine Le Pen have been talking to each other over the last few days. The problem for Marine Le Pen is that she's really backed herself into a corner. If she goes with the government and says, OK, he's doing the necessary, we won't back the vote of no confidence, she will be seen as being weak. She'll go against some in her own party who want that vote to go ahead. So she more or less has a hand tied behind her back and may well go in favour of a vote of no confidence, which will bring down the government. And that will cause an awful lot of political uncertainty in France.
Now, Philip, if Michel Barnier falls, he will join the ranks of other French prime ministers who continue to cost the French state quite a lot of money. And if he stays in power, he's promising to make his predecessors make an effort. What's this about?
Well, it's true that when you've been Prime Minister of France, you are allowed to have certain privileges, not all of them being privileges in the eyes of the person concerned. Basically, you can have a bodyguard, you can have you can take your own transport, you have a car paid for with free fuel and servicing, you have a chauffeur, and all of these perks that go with the job of being Prime Minister, and in quite a lot of other cases, Minister, and of course former presidents in France. Now, all of this costs a lot of money. I'll give you some figures. For example, Bernard Cazeneuve, who was Prime Minister a few years ago, he is the most expensive. He costs €201,000 a year of taxpayers' money just to live a normal life with bodyguards, a paid-for limousine, and a chauffeur, and a private secretary. At the other end of the spectrum, you have Jean Castex, who is now the head of the RATP, the Paris Transport Organisation. He just costs €3,000 a year to the taxpayers because he takes public transport, he has another job, doesn't have a bodyguard. So there is a real difference between what former prime ministers cost the state. So Michel Barnier, who is the current prime minister, has made it pretty clear that what he wants is for all of these former ministers, prime ministers and presidents to make an effort, because he says, look, in the last year or so, there's been an 11% increase in the cost to the taxpayer of providing this support to these former ministers, and we really need to do something about that. Some of them have already brought their costs down, but some of them haven't. And there are three who are the most expensive: Bernard Cazeneuve, Dominique de Villepin, and Jean-Pierre Raffarin, the former two who were prime ministers under Chirac. So this has been dragging on for a lot of years, and I think there is a willingness now on the part of the government to say, you've got to make an effort, you've got to bring down those costs. And I think that would also move in favour of the government right now. They're really looking to impress the public. And even Michel Barnier was on television a couple of days ago saying, well, I am going to leave the decision in the eyes of the public who would like me to stay in to have some stability in this country. If he falls from grace right now, we're going to see a period of great political uncertainty in France. There will be no elections possible until June next year. Who will take his place, we don't know.
But he
And
could
that will-
also be reappointed again.
he could be reappointed again, but it's going to be very complicated. And on top of that, Emmanuel Macron is also widely unpopular. An opinion poll just published today says 63% of French people don't want him to stand if Michel Barnier is removed from office.
Wow.